You're tuned in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, guiding your gridiron journey, none other than your host, former NFL lineman, Ross Tucker.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast. It is a Wisdom Wednesday, presented, of course, by DraftKings Sportsbook. Love those dudes. Love all of you. Love those, especially of you who use the code Ross over at the DK Sportsbook. The wisdom today comes from a rookie, Isaiah Adams, out of Illinois, third-round pick for the Cardinals. Absolutely love getting a chance to talk to a rookie right after the NFL draft and that experience, right before their first mini camp. This is going to be fun. Plus, yes, I have thoughts on the NFL versus NBA thing, and hopefully I'll get a chance tomorrow to go ahead and make sure that I can give out some winners for spreading the word via social media, at Ross Tucker NFL, at Ross Tucker Pod, taking advantage of any of our sponsors, or the YouTube shout-out winner, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. By the way, Tyrann Mathieu will be on tomorrow's show. Pro Bowl safety for the New Orleans Saints. That'll be awesome as well. Spread the word. It's Big Show time.
The Big Show.
Man, I always love these interviews for a lot of different reasons. Number one, I love talking offensive linemen. Number two, I love talking with rookies after they just went through the draft and or are heading into their mini camp. Well, we're combining both. I'm talking with Isaiah Adams, third-round pick for the Arizona Cardinals, offensive lineman from Illinois. Isaiah, I get so fired up for this. I got a million questions for you, dude. But I guess let's just start with draft day, okay? So take me back. You probably knew you weren't going first round, right? So then Friday night, did you think you were going on Friday night? Where were you? Who were you with? Like, give me the scene. And were you definitely going Friday night, or do you think Friday or Saturday? So when you went Friday, did you like go crazy? Give me the whole deal.
Yeah, so thanks for having me, by the way. But yeah, I didn't know where I was going to go. I knew it was like in between like late day 2 to early day 3. So scheduling a get together was kind of hard. I had to schedule 2, but Friday was more so kind of close family, and then Saturday I was gonna like let a bunch of people kind of come and check it out. But then on day 2, my agent was kind of saying, if you do go in the third round, it might be in pick like 90 to 100, like, you know, right at that bottom end. So to get picked 20 picks earlier was obviously crazy. I remember when my phone started vibrating, I'm like, man, no way. Like, I was literally like screaming already. And yeah, it was just an exciting time for me and my family. Like, it was really like, it was probably the most surreal moment I've ever had in my life.
Dude, that is amazing. You know, I'll say this, man. I talked to a lot of people. It is rare for you to go earlier than you think you're going to go. Like, that almost never happens, right? Like, everybody that goes in the second round thought they were going to be first-round picks. The third-round guys all thought they were going in the second round. I had a former teammate, Isaiah, that he didn't think he was going till day 3, which was on Sunday back then. So Saturday, he was at a wedding. He was a groomsman in a wedding, and the Dolphins were calling him, and his like phone was turned off because he thought he was going on day 3, and he's in a wedding and he can't turn his phone on. And the Miami Dolphins are like O-lineman from Texas A&M, Taylor Whitley. It's a crazy, crazy story. I love that. I love that story. All right, so it's special for everybody, but let's talk especially about you, man. I mean, you and I were talking before we started the interview. Your story is just crazy. So tell everybody where you're from, what you grew up doing, when you started playing football. I need the whole background. I mean, I love the background of any guy, but yours is unique.
So I grew up in Ajax, Ontario, just outside of Toronto. Growing up in Canada, obviously the first thing you love is hockey. So kind of the first sport I really like learned to play was hockey at a high level. I was a defenseman, just crushing guys on the boards, stuff like that. It was a physical team game, loved it. And then, I started getting a bit bigger, and I had a trainer tell me, hey, man, you're playing the wrong sport. So in the 8th grade, I stopped playing hockey after like 7 years, and I transitioned to football. Played a little bit of basketball in between that, but yeah, I started taking football really serious in high school. Played it all the way through from grade 9 to 12, and a Canadian university was really my only kind of offer. So I was like, hey, like I'm trying to play university ball, but I kind of was like, all right, let's do it in Canada. And COVID happened after my second year there, and I'm scratching and clawing to play football, and it led me to Garden City. I started sending my film to about 200 coaches in the States, and junior college was kind of my route. I knew during COVID, the recruiting portal was filled up. It was pretty crazy. Get to Garden City, and it was like, wow, like it's real now. How bad do you want it? And if anyone's ever been to JUCO, you can attest to how gritty it gets down there, and how little support, I should say, you do have. So it all comes down to how much do you love the game. And that led me to Illinois. I know Brett Bilma is a great coach with, a great track record of offensive linemen. And, coming out of JUCO, I had 2 years left, and I trusted the guy who's done it the best. So, yeah, man, I kept to Illinois, and it was business time. There's some really good players around me. Like, I can list them all. But yeah, we had a really, good locker, good culture that I was able to grow in and become a man and become a better football player.
Unbelievable story. Like so many different aspects of it. I want to go back dude, I always now, first of all, I can't ice skate at all. Not at all. I've tried a few times. I can't even roller skate anymore. But I would have loved, we actually have season tickets to the Hershey Bears in the AHL.
Yeah.
I live 10 minutes away, and I love it. Like they're all like 19 to 25-year-old Canadian or whatever. And I can't tell the difference between AHL and NHL. Like to me, like, right, they're just like flying around, hitting each other. Like we have second row seats right next to the opposing team's penalty box. I always try to offer those guys a beer, and they're like, no, I can't, while I'm watching it. But I always thought I could have been a goon defenseman. Like I would have loved, I love how you can just take your glove and just like wipe it on their face and stuff.
Yeah.
So my question is, how hard was it to give up hockey? Because sounds like that was your first love. Sounds like you were pretty good at it.
Man, it was hard. Just kind of like before I even got on the field. My older brother, he's 4 years older than me. That I looked up to him so much, still do. Like one of my best friends. But he was a really good hockey player, so I was just trying to get like my older brother, and I didn't want to give it up. I didn't want to give that dream up. But as soon as I hit the field, got around guys like my size, and I remember we were doing a conditioning drill, and they broke it up between the small guys and the bigger guys, and I'm like, man, I just played hockey where we're all of us are running at the same pace. We're all running around a track and stuff like that. I'm like, this is amazing. I get to run with the big guys. I get to like hang with the big guys the whole day. And I was a bigger guy, like I said, so I just felt at home, and I was just at peace, man. I was with guys who wanted to do what I do, just smash mouth kind of mentality.
What's football like in Canada? Like how big of a deal is it now? When you started to play, whatever, I don't know if you said it was 8th grade or 9th grade.
Yeah.
How popular is it? Like, where would you rank it on the other sports? Is it growing? Give me a breakdown of football in Canada.
I'd say it would go probably hockey, then basketball, then football. So it's bigger than like a sport like lacrosse, but just in terms of like the financial side of it, like even at my Canadian university, like the facilities were nothing like that. At Illinois, there's just not that much support. There's a bunch of kids who really love this game out in Canada, and there's just not a lot of people pushing it. Like where in America, there's a great deal of support, great deal of networking. But it's like when I got to university, I was playing a guy who was 22 years old. He went 7th overall in the CFL draft, and he was a solid player. Like even comparing him to, some of the guys I faced in junior college, like he was a solid player. So it's not the craziest deal, but it's not. It also will make you better, and it did make me better those first 2 years.
What was your pre-draft process like? So you finish up the season with Illinois. Where
Yeah.
were you? Where did you train? And what was that part of it like for you?
I trained in Frisco, Texas with Sports Academy. My trainer was the Big Duke, so I got to
Oh,
be
you were with Duke?
Yeah, I was with Duke. I was
Oh,
with
that's
Duke.
amazing. He
Heck
comes on the
yeah.
show like once a year. I love Duke.
Oh yeah, exactly. Great guy, unbelievable guy. Really did things the right way. Had a nice organized plan for all of us. I was with some of the top guys in the country. That was nice to compete with them for 4 months or 2 months, pardon me, and really just see where I was at. And he does a great job with the strength side, and we had a good guy named Mo Wells with the speed training. But you're out there in kind of like the Cowboys world. It's by like the star and stuff like that. And yeah, it was a great experience. I never really lived in Dallas for a bit, so I could always say that I have now. And it was a good experience, and definitely put in some work. Like it was some tough days. Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. Okay, but then you came back. What was it like? You said it was just close family. Tell me who the close family was and what it was like for them when you got that call.
So close family consists of my mom, my two sisters, my brother, like I said, my older brother, and then my aunts and uncles. So I have an uncle. My mom has a sister and a brother. So their kids, and then like 5 of my best friends. That was kind of my my close kind of circle. And I just remember telling them like, "Hey, chill out. Like we got time to eat. If I do go today, it's gonna be late in the day. Like just hang out. Like you know, don't get too excited." And then you're kind of just waiting there, and they're all like, "Are you okay?" And then when my phone starts vibrating, like I'm just like, "Whoa!" Like guys, like, I'm getting a call, whatever, and they start flipping out. They start flipping out. They try to you know quiet down though for the call. I hang up the phone and I start screaming. I start screaming like, whoa, ah. And everyone's like, where are you going though? Like, cause I'm just screaming like my head off. And then I said, I'm going to Arizona, and they just, lit up. Like the energy in the room was crazy.
Did you end up having a party the next day with everybody else?
Yeah. A bunch of people in my town. Like this is kind of a huge deal in my small little town. So everyone wanted to stop by and congratulate me, and I had to give that opportunity.
Hell yeah, dude! It's a huge deal in any town, man.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
NFL draft pick, 3rd-round pick, but especially, in how do you say it again? Is it Ajax?
Ajax, like the cleaning thing. The
Yeah,
cleaning,
that is absolutely incredible. It gives me goosebumps. I still remember when the Redskins called me, and then for me, I wasn't a 3rd-round pick. I was undrafted, so I still remember calling my mom and dad when I made the team as a rookie. It was awesome, and that was so. What's so cool for you is later in the 3rd round, the Cardinals took one of your teammates.
Yeah.
That the big tight end. Is it Tip Ryman? Is it Ryman?
Tip Ryman. Yeah, Tip Ryman.
So I don't know how close you were, but that's kind of awesome that you're going to this new situation, NFL, you're moving out to Phoenix or whatever, but you got one of your boys with you already.
Yeah, no, that's like a bash brother. Like I played a bunch of tackle this year, so we got to work triples. We were also team captains. 2 older guys in the locker room. We got along, definitely got along really well. And man, he's a great guy. I can't wait to work with him. Our relationship is really, really close.
Dude, he is big and fast for a tight end.
He is big and fast. He's a freak, man. He's strong, like he's strong too. So I'm so happy that he's coming to the Cardinals. I know he's going to make a great impact for them.
So when did you first think, Isaiah, that this could happen? Like that this could really be realistic? Was it Garden City? Was it Canada? Was it you had to get to Illinois and play well at Illinois and be like, you know what, I'm as good as these guys? When did you first think this
Mm.
might be a realistic possibility?
I think like it was my first game at Illinois, definitely. Nervous as ever, coming from Garden City, like how am I gonna compare? We were playing Wyoming, so it wasn't a Big Ten rivalry, but I knew Wyoming was a solid, group of five school. I finished that game with 17 knockdowns. And after that day, I was like, whoa, like I maybe could do this. Like, there was guys who started there for 3 years on that line, 2 years. And I was like, I pretty much not just like I played like just as good, if not better than them. And I'm like, this is my first game. I'm just getting my feet wet. After that, I kind of knew after the season, you get those draft grades after your junior and senior season, and then I saw my draft grade, and it really became real then. I'm not really a guy like who's like kind of looking too far ahead in the future. I'm really in the moment. I'm kind of humble to a fault. So that's kind of why I thought I was going to get drafted a bit later. I was probably selling myself short. I always do. Just pushes me a little bit. But yeah, I didn't really know until I got my name called. Even the week before the draft, I'm like, this still isn't real. I'm not good enough and stuff like that. But it is real.
All right. It is real, man. And it's amazing. So you got mini camp this weekend. Now, I think it's just rookie mini camp, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a little bit different, but talk to me about back in the day, there was no rookie mini camp. The first mini camp after the draft, everybody. So I went in there, Isaiah, and I was like, it was like Bruce Smith and LeVar Arrington and Darrell Green and like all these guys end up being like Hall of Famers, and I'm just like next to them at the EKG machine, like for the physical. I was looking around like it was all these guys I'd been playing with on Madden for like 10 years. I was like, what is happening right now? It was surreal. So, but you'll be with the rookies, obviously, which is still cool. Just talk to me about your mentality now, what the Cardinals have told you, what your expectations are going into this weekend and beyond.
I'm just ready to get better, learn the playbook, really get a mastery of the offense. Show the coaches that they can trust me, and I just want to do my job. That's all I'm focused on. That's all I care about. Learning the playbook, executing on the field, and me like showing the guys that I care about them. I care about this team, and hopefully the coaches can see that. I'm expecting to compete, and the Cardinals have made that clear. There's going to be a competition and there's a need. So I'm just ready to compete, ready to learn the playbook and show them like, what I can do. I can do my job every play. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it. There are legitimate opportunities to start at guard as a rookie for you there, man. That is exciting. And I've got an article coming out this week, as well as a video with some rookie advice. I love what you said about making sure you know what you're doing. Mental mistakes are just unacceptable, and coaches can't handle that part of it. And I already know you got the physicality part of it down. I would just encourage you, get a routine and watch, like, in particular, what Jonah Williams does and what Beachum does. Because those guys, I know Beachum and I know Jonah a little bit, they have awesome routines. So when you see them going in the cold tub, when you see what they do at 6 a.m. when they get there, when you see what they do before and after when the vets get there, mimic them, man, because there's a reason why Jonah just got that contract. There's a reason why Beachum's been in the league forever. If you take some of the things that those guys do, that'll take you a long way. Jonah Williams, when he was in college, had handwritten notes on every guy he went against, like a whole database. He made like a spider chart. Like it's you're a pro now, man. I'm so excited for you. Really appreciate you coming on the show. Fired up to watch you this season. I actually got a chance to do a Cardinals game last year for CBS against the Ravens. I know Gannon very well, their head coach, Jonathan Gannon, from his time in Philly. So I'm pumped for you, man. And that's an awesome place to live, too, man. Like, I mean, it's better than Garden City and Champaign. Like, pretty sweet.
It might be better than Canada, too. I grew up.
I wasn't going to knock the hometown Ajax, but I think Toronto's pretty sweet. And I'm not knocking Champaign or Garden City either, but there's a reason why a lot of guys move out there. There's a lot of ex-NFL guys that live out there. I'm pumped for you. Are you on social media or anything? You want to throw anything out so people can follow you?
Man, I am on social media. It's Isaiah Adams if you're looking for me. Not the craziest guy on social media, but we'll get there one day, maybe after my career. But
awesome, man. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Good luck. Kick some butt this weekend.
Thanks so much for having me, guys.
Awesome stuff with Isaiah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that as much as I do. You know what I'm really enjoying these days? My wife got me hooked on these things. These factor meals. They've got Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto. They are fresh. They are never frozen. They are dietitian approved. They are ready to eat in just 2 minutes. That's what I'm looking for. No matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. My wife was using these before they even became a sponsor, which is really good timing. If you listened or watched yesterday's Even Money podcast, you saw me showing the box. I think it was Mediterranean shrimp and quinoa bowl. Anyway, head to factormeals.com/RTFP50 and use code RTFP50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code RTFP50 at factormeals.com/RTFP50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Obviously, when you are washing down those meals, those factor meals, you need something equally delicious to wash down. It's Labatt Blue Light. It has always been Labatt Blue Light. It'll always be Labatt Blue Light. Drink it with your friends while you're watching NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs. Always enjoy responsibly. Beer, Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York.
Tuck's Takes.
All right, Ross, as you mentioned in the intro, there was a big debate that erupted yesterday on social media regarding playing in the NFL versus the NBA. So we need you to chime in on this one.
Right, and it's funny because I just mentioned Labatt, but I'm going to make this my Labatt Take of the Week, presented by Labatt Blue Light, the pristine Canadian Pilsner. Enjoy your beers together so you can live life to the power of we. Always enjoy responsibly. Beer, Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York. I would say in general, I think the NBA has the best athletes in the world. And I do think there's more NBA players that if they trained to be football players could make the NFL, right? You know them, Zion, LeBron, Anthony Edwards. We got that. I don't think there's very many NFL players that they trained to play to be in the NBA that they would be able to do that. So I think Austin Rivers is right in that regard. However, this idea that NBA players, 30 of them, he could just take them and put them in the NFL right now, absolutely not. First of all, way more complicated than Austin realizes. Secondly, without having any of the technique or the training, those guys wouldn't even get off the line of scrimmage. I think there's guards and forwards that could be receivers, DBs, tight ends. We've seen that, Antonio Gates, Jimmy Graham, but it would take some time. Patrick Surtain would lock those guys down at the line of scrimmage. It would take some time. So Austin Rivers was right, but he was also very, very wrong.
In other news, the Patriots, they're struggling to satisfy the requirements for the Rooney Rule for general manager. A handful of candidates have declined interviews before Brandon Hunt from the Philadelphia Eagles. He was the first one to accept.
Right, because everybody believes that it's going to be Elliott Wolf and that this is kind of a sham interview process. And so they didn't want to be a part of it, but Brandon Hunt wants the experience. I will never fault a guy for taking one of these interviews, ever.
Titans, they signed wide receiver Tyler Boyd, essentially moving on from former first-round pick Treylon Burks.
So bad. So bad, man. I mean, they traded A.J. Brown and more or less replaced him with Treylon Burks, and now they're in a situation where they already have 3 other receivers, so Treylon Burks is as good as gone. That's That was an awful, awful trade for them. I mean, really bad. Tyler Boyd's a good signing. I'll say this too about the Patriots. They didn't interview anybody else and just hired Gerard Mayo. People think it's a sham interview process for the GM. A lot of weird things going on in New England right now. Tyrann Mathieu tomorrow. I think we're done here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also check out Even Money, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network on Samsung TV Plus, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.
Shout out myfrontpagestory.com. It is not too late. I want to send you an awesome signed autograph in the mail. Help me help you get the best Mother's Day gift ever. myfrontpagestory.com. You got backofficescheduler.com, steakhousesports.com, humanheadnyc.com, Sporticulture, Pizza Boy Brewing.